Hello, Ndimu Kwaita, and welcome to C for Chat. Today's episode, we will be focusing on red flags, all right? The red flags question, did you not see the red flags? It really irks me. It really irks me. And you will soon understand why when someone asks me, did you see the red flags? I'm like, not today, Satan. Not today. All right, so what are red flags? According to psychology, red flags are behaviors or patterns that should give you a serious pause when you see them, when you observe them, because they could be an indication of a larger, worse pattern, linked to them. They vary from person to person because of background, because of preference, because of life choices, because of approach, because of one's approach to life. Okay, so one person's red flags might not necessarily be my red flags, and my red flags might not necessarily be someone else's red flags. For example, a red flag to me is someone who cheats. Like, Sana, uchitelani, and why must I put up with that? We understand. If kaloku I'm not enough, it's okay. It's fine. I've accepted that I might not be enough, in some instances. And that's okay. Vaya fetu, you can go. But for some people, will be like, cheating is forgivable, man. It's not a deal breaker. It's not a thing. So, yeah, that's how it usually happens in the red flags. So let's talk about mom and some of the advice that mama gave me when it came to red flags. She used to say, Ndanam, if umfana is a young man, if umfana comes to you and says, let's meet at Vincent is a shopping center, also suburb in East London, right? If umfana says, let's meet in Vincent, and doesn't even offer to buy you ice cream here R2, then you should have no further conversations with that person. Like, already it's a sign, this person is not okay. He wasn't brought up well, and you will have bigger problems in the future. So this one time, I went and I met umfana. Okay, it was actually an older guy, Vincent, and he was a prosecutor by profession. So prosecutor, I get to the restaurant, and I find him eating. Okay, prosecutor, does he not continue to eat? Sana prosecutor, and and not offer me anything. Like, he continued to eat, and he drank his tea, and he was chatting and asking me about myself, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Anyway, I went home and I told Mama, it ain't no prosecutor, Sana. Yay. And she laughed and she's like, so you should by now know that there will be no further conversations between you and the prosecutor, because what is he doing, man? So that was Mama. She was big on psychology. She was big on, relationship psychology in particular. Never mind the fact that she never went to study for it, but it was really her passion. And she felt, if things could have been different, she would have studied that. So how do you then identify red flags? How can you tell if something is a red flag? Okay, so red flags are only red flags, and this is the reason why the red flag question irks me so much. Red flags, they are only red flags if you have had prior exposure to something similar. All right, so you can't be going on about red flags when you can't identify what is a red flag to you. So there's a term that I used to use when I was still lecturing health and safety called sensitization. In that context, it's when a person would come into contact with a certain chemical, and then that chemical wouldn't do anything to that person. And they would come into contact with that chemical maybe once or twice, and nothing would happen. And then the third time, when they come into contact with that same chemical, even if it's even if it's a small portion, or if it's a small amount of that chemical, then a person develops a rash, because now the skin or the body has been sensitized to that chemical. So the skin has been exposed to that chemical. It has decided that it doesn't like being exposed to that chemical. Therefore, it reacts the third time. And I'd like to believe the same thing in red flags. Only when maybe you've seen it happen next door, or you've had experience yourself, or you've seen it happen, at home, then you can say, Yabona, this is a red flag. But if you have never had prior experience to it, then it cannot be a red flag, because where do you know it from? You understand? Where do you know it from? Case in point, let's take me as an example. Ekhaya, at home, you were not allowed to go to bed angry. Like, even if you were beaten up for burning the pots or whatever, misdeed that you did, you were not allowed to be upset after being disciplined. It was just a thing. Okay, take your discipline, cry, but after 10 minutes, iba right, because you know that's what happened, and those were the consequences of your own actions. And you can't be moping and making us feel miserable with your bad attitude. Apparently, you must be okay. So for me, silent treatment was like weird, like I didn't know that it was even a thing. To be quite honest, I didn't even know that it was a thing, silent treatment. I didn't know it until I met my ex-husband. And he was the king of stonewalling, okay? He was the king of silent treatment. And when he used to do this, like not talk to me, he would say, I love you. And then we would get into a disagreement the next day, and then he wouldn't talk to me for like 4 days. And I would be like, how do you say I love? And this was during dating, ne? How do you say I love you and then not talk to me for 4 days? And then I believed in the Ugbana. If we live together, he won't be able to stonewall. Let's love together. If we live together, he won't be able to stonewall, because how do you remain upset at someone that you live with? Like, how do you not talk to someone that you live with? Other people, they are champions of that behavior. They are champions of that behavior, and so was he. So the tricky thing about red flags, what makes red flags tricky, is that because so much else in the relationship is going well, then it becomes difficult for you to take action based on the red flags that you've seen. All right. On top of that, it can be difficult to pinpoint exactly what it is that makes you feel uncomfortable about this. So for me, it was like, hey, I don't like him not talking to me just because we had a fight, but I'm not sure about now. Why do I have a problem with this? Like, it's weird. I can't make out what my issue is with it, but it's just weird that you say you love me 1 minute and then the next minute you are quite capable of waking up, going to work, going home, not talking to me, doing that like for the whole week. Like, it's weird. And I as a result, I thought, no, this can be easily fixed if we would live together. So that's why I got into a marriage with someone who is able to stonewall successfully, because I thought that if we live together, he won't be able to do it. And he was king, son. So for example, another example for me, emotions, I only have 2 emotions that will cause me to walk away, 2 emotions that will cause me to act, let me put it that way. And the first one is disrespect, like that feeling. And the second one is fear. Like, if I feel like then I'm going to exclude myself and subtract myself from that equation. But otherwise, everything else in between, I usually negotiate it to nothingness, because the feelings that it invokes in me were not strong enough, or are not strong enough, to make me actually make a decision. You understand? And obviously that is much to my detriment, that I negotiate uncomfortable feelings to nothingness. Red flags are warnings that the worst is yet to come. So this other lady who used to do my nails once said to me, the things that you hate about your partner during dating, in marriage, they will be multiplied 4 times. If the fact that he leaves his socks in his shoes, dirty socks in his shoes, if that irritates you now, when you are married, it will be multiplied 4 times. If him leaving the toilet seat up, or whatever issues women have with toilet seats nowadays, because I don't have those issues, to be honest. If him leaving the toilet seat up annoys you now as a human being, dating, then when you are married, it will be 4 times worse. You understand? And I remember those words, because Nyani, indeed, it became 4 times worse. Everything that I hated about my boyfriend back then, it became 4 times, even 10 times worse when he was my husband. The Bible, okay, guys, is big on warnings. Ne? It's big on warnings. And if we can reflect on my favorite worst relationship example in the Bible, Samson and Delilah, which I'll make reference to maybe a couple of times, you will see, but that relationship was doomed from the beginning. Because number one, Samson married into a tribe that he was busy killing everyone and, damaging and ruining them and just being a menace, man. Okay, I suppose it was his calling, but he was just busy burning fields, killing people, he was a lot to Samson. And then he still marries into the same tribe. You understand? And as if that's not enough, just before he passes away, what Delilah says to him, Indobana, Samson, can you please tell me where your strength is? What? And then Samson's like, if you tie me with 7 bowstrings, they must be wet. Tie me with 7 bowstrings, I'll be as weak as everyone else. Nyan, Delilah calls the Philistines and they hide in some corner. And then while Samson is sleeping, she ties him up with 7 bowstrings that were wet and not dried up. And then he says, Samson, Samson, the Philistines are chasing you. And then Samson wakes up, breaks the bowstrings, And then Delilah says, you have made fun of me in front of the Philistines. You've made fun of me in front of people because you gave me the wrong information. Tell me, please, where is your strength and how can we make you weak like someone else? Guys, come on. And she did that 3 times. 3 times she did that. And then the 4th time, Samson told her the truth. So the 2nd time, Samson is like, if you tie me up with chains, I'll be as weak as everyone else. Delilah puts Samson to sleep, calls the Philistines, hides them in a corner, and ties Samson up with chains. And then says, Samson, Samson, wake up. The Philistines are chasing you. And Samson wakes up. He sees the Philistines. He breaks the chains. I mean, guys, is it not obvious? And then the 3rd time, ropes, if you tie me up with ropes, don't, I'll be as weak as everyone else. Same story. And then the 4th time, after Delilah was persistent, eventually Samson told her the truth. And when he told her the truth, then she did exactly what she had shown that she would do when she knows the truth. She did exactly that. So what was he expecting? Nasara, like Samson, he was all testosterone as far as I'm concerned, because Sana, here, I don't know. But how many times are we or Samson? How many times are we or Samson where you can see, man, this one, it's going to end in tears. Yes, it's going to end in tears. And you still get into it with all those red flags, as this other friend of mine usually says, is ISO red flags vuzikas, meaning these flags are so red, they are dripping blood. They are dripping blood, but either way, even so, as they drip blood, we go there and we continue. So the Bible says in a number of scriptures, guys, although the context is somewhat different, but it says, take heed that no one deceives you. They say that in Matthew 24. Of course, they're talking about the end of times and Jesus coming. But take heed that no one deceives you. And taking heed, it's saying, be warned. Be warned. It's a warning. Take heed that no one deceives you. In Luke 11, verse 34, it also says, take heed that the light that you think is light is not darkness. So what you think is like highway to, just be careful. Be careful that you don't think it's darkness. And it also says that there will be signs and wonders in the last days, guys. And today's relationships, they are definitely signs and wonders. Sana, they are indicative of the end of times. So what I like about warnings, Mna, is the fact that a warning comes just before you actually get into danger. No one will say to you as you're lying on your bed, be careful that the cars don't hit you. You must be on the road for them to say, watch out. There are fast cars, don't cross Njina. You understand? Warnings come as you are in that situation or as you are about to get into that situation. No one can say, be careful. You're going to burn yourself when you are just sitting there watching TV and not coming into contact with anything that has the potential to burn you. So a hot surface, a hot stove, ne, is our usually they write caution hot surface, all right? And that caution hot surface, ne, as I want to end with this. That caution hot surface does not say to you in the Yogbana, the surface must not be hot. It's telling you that the purpose of the surface is to be hot. That's why you bought it. That's why you have it in your house, because it's a stove and you want to put a pot on that stove, ne? And you want the hotness of the stove to cook the food. That's inside the pot, right? So, but now you need to be aware that that surface will continue being hot because it is what that surface is meant to do. If it's on, it's going to be hot. And its hotness will not change just because you didn't put a stove on it and you put your hand. If you put your hand, the surface will still be U6, stove, sabak regardless. Whether you put a hand, you put a cloth, you put the pot, the one that is supposed to be there. You understand? Therefore, it is important for you to understand that hot surfaces will not stop being hot just because you have decided to enter into them. Hot situations will not stop being hot just because when you've decided that, no, because ndim, ndim. And that was my main mistake. And I always say, but I think this was very pompous of me to think that I can actually change a person, that a person will change just because they have me in their life. No, the surface will continue being hot. And I must take heed, warning, caution, hot surface. And it's not going to stop being hot just because I am around now. Do you understand? So we need to understand that those behaviors that people exhibit earlier on, they're not going to change. And the reason why this red flags issue irritates me a lot again is the fact that it's giving stupidity, man, that, you saw these things, but you went and you married him. No, guys. Number one, I was not sensitized to them. And secondly, I had the belief that they will change because I didn't understand red flags in depth, knowing that, no, you know what? People don't change. Ne? Like, only God has the ability to change a human being. And never mind the fact that I prayed for that relationship. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, but Smage was like, no, I am not interested in salvaging this one. But it was very, very naive of me to think that just because now we are married, things would be different. Just because now we made a vow and we called 300 people to the wedding, things would be different. No. Hot surface. Caution. Hot surface. Thank you, and we will chat again soon. But let's meet on TikTok, where I can share some of the caution hot surface of my marriage during the dating phase. Alrighty, see you on the other side. Bye.